Hello, I'm glad you can join me again for another look into the book of James. I hope this study of the book of James has been beneficial to you. It's certainly been beneficial for me as I've studied through the book of James in preparation for these lessons. James is a very practical book of the New Testament. James basically at its core tells us to put our belief into action. Now, as Christians, there are things we must do, and that's what James addresses, is that if we have faith, then put the faith into action and do these things. But there are also some things that if we have faith in Christ, that we ought not to do. And that's what he's going to talk about some here in James chapter 2, things we should not do. And he starts with the first verse, and we'll look at the first 4 verses today. I'll be reading from the New King James Version of the Bible. James writes, "My brethren, do not hold the faith of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord of glory, with partiality." Now here the King James Version says respective persons, and the NASB says with an attitude of personal favoritism. It continues in verse 2, "For if there should come into your assembly a man with gold rings and fine apparel, and there should also come in a poor man in filthy clothes, and you pay attention to the one wearing the fine clothes, and say to him, you sit here in a good place, and say to the poor man, you stand there, or sit here at my footstool, have you not shown partiality among yourselves, and become judges with evil thoughts? Indeed, if one is a true follower of Christ, he or she cannot show partiality." Jesus himself, if we look at his ministry and read about it in the gospel accounts of his life, he showed no respect of persons in regards to their occupation. Kings, tax collectors were treated the same. Jesus caught out the Pharisees, who were the religious leaders of their day, for their religious error. And so occupation, it wasn't anything that he showed respect to. He didn't show respect to social standing or color. And in the church today, we can't afford to show partiality for those things either. To show partiality to somebody based strictly on their physical appearance is sinful. And it's sinful because it goes against everything that Jesus stood for. That's one thing I want to bring up about judging somebody by their personal appearance. Here in James chapter 2, it mentions the rich man and the poor man and how they would be treated differently at the worship services. Sometimes you have no idea who you may be insulting by treating them poorly. I read a story one time of a man who went to a dealership. He was dressed in overalls, and he was looking to buy some semis and some trailers. And he went into the dealership, and they took absolutely no time to talk with him because he was dressed in overalls and a flannel shirt and did not look like he had the money to buy one truck, much less a fleet of trucks. So he simply left that dealership and went to another where he was treated more respectfully. And he purchased his truck from them. For many, many years, that's who he dealt with. The poor man's name that was in the overalls was Sam Walton. Sometimes appearances aren't what they seem. Sometimes the poor, in an effort to impress, have put all their money into looking like they're not poor. And sometimes the rich, feeling that they have nothing to prove, don't dress like the rich. Folks, we don't know. That's why it's important we treat all people with respect, but not with partiality. We think back to our example here from James chapter 2. How about the poor man? How do you think he felt when he went into the worship, the public worship, and he was treated like a second-class citizen? If he came there looking for spiritual healing, I'm sure he felt disappointed. If he came there looking for a warm welcome from people who are supposed to be good people as Christians are, certainly he felt disappointed in the way he was treated. Folks, we have to do better than that. let us remember this. Christ died for all. Christ shed his blood so that all may be forgiven of their sins, men and women, regardless of the shade of the skin, regardless of the financial condition. Christ died for all. For people that we consider good people, yes, he died. For people that we consider to be bad people, he died. And his blood cleanses the sins of all men who will render obedience to him and obey his word. And that should be comforting to you and I, because we have all sinned. We have all fallen short of his glory, but yet his blood makes it possible for us to be forgiven and reconciled back to God. Let us not show partiality in teaching and preaching the word of Christ. Let us preach it to everybody so that those who have good hearts may hear his word, receive it, and be saved for eternity. I thank you for watching today, and I hope you'll watch again if we study more in the book of James. Thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Love you all. Goodbye, and God bless.